would love to introduce Miss Tawana Goodwin. You see this big smile on my face because she is amazing and I am truly excited to have her. She is going to talk to us about how do you recruit, motivate, and retain your volunteers. And again, we're highlighting that relief aspect of our community transformation model. You're going to need a team of folks around you to help you, right? And I don't know of one church, big or small, that's like, oh, we don't have any problem with volunteers. We got all the volunteers we can handle, right? So I'm going to turn it over. Not only is Miss Tawana our Houston ISD West District Coordinator, she's also been a volunteer coordinator for several ministries and camps throughout our city for decades. So she has so much wisdom to share. Feel free to take notes and use the chat box for any follow-up questions. Miss Tawana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brittany. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Thank you. I don't know how I can follow it. You definitely aged me at this particular point. I feel like I'm 100 years old. Some days I feel that way. Special thanks to all of you for attending our leaders gathering on today. I wanted to say a special thanks to Loving Houston for seeing the value in our gifts and allowing us to be able to flourish in them. We never get a chance to tell Marilyn and the Loving Houston board members and everything that we're so excited about how you treat us. We are so in awe with it. We feel so wonderful to be a part of this organization. Okay, let's get started. First Chronicles 4:10 is where I'm going to start and where I have started for a long time. And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, enlarge my coast, enlarge my border, enlarge my ministry, enlarge my church school partnership volunteers, enlarge my volunteer base, that your hand would be with me and that you keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. So God granted him what he requested. In 15 of the 25 years that I've been recruiting volunteers in the ministry, from children's ministry director to all of the things that I've done in the community across the city, I have always quoted this prayer. And it has always come back and reflected on me because as the ministries that I've been a part of, and I continue to quote this prayer, it really, really works. You should never be operating in your ministry without prayer, number one, I'm sure. But number two, without quoting the Jabez prayer. My ministries that I have been in after quoting this prayer here have enlarged from 40 volunteers to 400. And it continues to go around the city and the things that I'm doing. So please quote this Jabez prayer. So what are we here for today? Volunteer talk, an issue with every single church. If you walk into any church right now, they will tell you, we need volunteers. We need this. We need that. So as I did conferences, as I did different speaking engagements, that has always been the issue. So let's do it today. Let's talk about volunteers. Let's talk about recruiting, retaining, and engaging volunteers. We know that some churches are not at full capacity right now, and some of your members and volunteers have not returned. But there's still work to be done in the kingdom. The only fulfillment we will ever have is when we use our God-given gifts and talents. Remember, your volunteers have gifts and talents that they need to utilize. You are simply just providing just a needs listing for them to be able to get ready to get started in your ministry. So let's get started. Okay, what do? We have a need. You have a need. Everybody in ministry has a need right now. Everybody. So let's go to recruiting 102. I know that you have already done recruiting 101 because you already operate in the ministry right now. Some of you are already church school partners right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we need to do with our volunteers. Start where you are. Start where you are. Although we talk about COVID-19 for the last 3 years, this is a pandemic, truth be told, you have always needed volunteers. Why is it any different now? You've always needed them. So let's start with the volunteers that we have right now. Let's go back to some basics. I love to go back to basics. Meet with your faithful volunteers. Start a recruitment committee and ask them to recruit other friends. A friend knows a friend knows a friend knows a friend. When they see you doing, then they're going to join in your ministry. The next point, ask your previous volunteers if they would like to return to the ministry. Just because they're not here right now does not mean they want to return. They may have had some type of life issue, some type of crisis, but now they're ready. And the mere fact that you continue to call about their God given gift, and they know that you want them in ministry, they're going to say, okay, I'm ready to start now. You continue to call me. I'm going to start now. Rotate service opportunities. We all have different opportunities in our ministries that need to be done. Have you ever thought about, as a ministry, looking inside of your congregation instead of going outside to get volunteers? There are other ministries that are there that would love to do volunteer opportunities. Ask other members, other ministries in your church, the singles ministry, the youth ministry, the children's ministry, the men's ministry. They all can help you do what you do. You just need to expand your base inside of your congregation. What else should you do? Post ministry needs on your church website and social media. We know that some churches are big, some churches are small. We also know that some of you don't really know how to do that, but this is where we're evolving in. We're at a crossroads right now. Some of our ministries are doing some different things, and you're getting ready to deal with the baby boomers and all the others that are coming in that only want social media. So you're going to have to meet them where they are. Poll your congregation. Ask if their employer or their business can volunteer. Always know who's inside of your congregation. Ask your ministry volunteers to help you do what you do. Have a ministry fair. You know we've all done it. We pulled those tables out outside in our narthex, outside of our ministry, and we did in-person ministry fairs. All the tables lined up along the row. Everybody's signing up. Every time you call them, we already know what happens. They don't really want to join. They just thought maybe that they look. I'm signed up for 2 to 3 different ministries. Well, guess what? You can still do that if you're in person, but now we need to do it online. Take some of your ministry online. Target your needs, your teachers, anyone that you need in your ministry. You'll need to list it on your ministry websites. Make recruiting easy. As a volunteer, what I've found in 25 years is a volunteer does not want to go through 10 to 15 different steps to be a part of your ministry. If they fill out an application online, make your applications available online. Make it a quick application. It should not be 20 steps before they end that application online. Make it quick, make it simple, and make certain that when they give you that information online, do a TWISE, your thank you call within 24 to 48 hours. You will hear me say this on a repetitive basis throughout the slides. When I've been in ministry for 25 years, the way that I was able to get my volunteers from the ministry fairs is that I was the first one to call within 24 to 48 hours, and I was able to get those volunteers. That's how you can expand your volunteer base. These are simple steps, everybody, but these are simple steps that really, really work. Go back to the basics. List your training dates online. In-person and Zoom call trainings should always be offered now. Have volunteer trainings online. Choose your volunteers that are great with social media to present your volunteer trainings online. Do not lose your volunteers. I will continue to say that. Create create opportunities to serve in ministry face to face and contactless. This means that right now, look at the bottom here, you're going to have to be creative. Creative means that, yes, you're going to do some of the same things your ministry needs, but right now, you're going to need someone for social media. You're going to need somebody to get that word out. You're going to need somebody to do some drive-bys. You're going to be able to need somebody to do some food pantry like you all in church school partnerships. There's definitely contactless opportunities. If you are in a church school partnership with a school, cupcakes can be dropped off. The pantry can be done where you don't have to be in contact with the kids. There are many, many things that you can be creative by to be able to give your volunteers opportunities. Remember, the volunteers have a gift. You're just creating opportunities for them. Let's talk about engaging and motivating your volunteers. They both go hand in hand. This simply means I want to be excited when I serve you in the ministry with you. I don't want to come into your ministry and you all do not have that ministry together. You must make certain that all the mechanics that are done with your ministry, that you will have all your volunteers, all hands on deck. First point, connect with your volunteers. Build relationships after you recruit them. That means what? You got to get to know me. I've got to get to know you. You've got to give me that church school badge and that ID. You know what that means to me? That tells me that I'm a part of your ministry. When I wear that badge, I wear it like a badge of honor because I'm so excited to be a part of something. So I can tell somebody else about what I am a part of. Know their gifts. What are their gifts and talents? You do not want to put sister talk a lot in a set of side of a ministry where she cannot flourish. Everybody knows a sister talk a lot. She knows everything in the ministry. Place your volunteers in the right place. Always know what their gifts are. Have monthly and quarterly meetings. Stay connected. Stay connected at all times. This will you will continue to retain your volunteers when you stay connected. Make your trainings fun, interactive, and informative. Give them the tools that they need for success. We all want fun and interactive trainings. Do not stand in front of your new volunteers and your seasoned volunteers with the same process. Do something different. Make it fun. Listen. Allow them to assist with decision making, empower them. I have the opportunity of having one of my mentors online, Mr. Willie Smith. He and I have been knowing each other for 25 years. I was a young girl going into children's ministry, and I looked at a church school, a bulletin for the church, and I asked him one question. Did y'all need any help in children's ministry? He said, "This is your lucky day." He opened up the door, and I walked right through into a church school ministry volunteer meeting or training. So I became a liaison for children's ministry. Asked another question. Never asked a question in ministry, you guys, because when you ask the question, then that's the job that you're going to be doing. I asked where all the teachers were because I didn't see anybody. So it's like, okay, this is a lucky day again. And I became the children's ministry coordinator for Saturday and Sunday nights. So it just evolved from there. But Mr. Willie Smith empowered me when I did not know what my gift really was. I knew that I had a gift for gab, but I just did not know how to utilize it. I knew that I was a gatherer of people, but I did not know what my gifts really were. That's why you need to know what your volunteer gifts really are. Share, share, share. If you want to engage and motivate your volunteers, you got to share their success stories. I love my name in lights. Oh, trust me, I love my name in lights. Oh, we all love praise. Some people, some volunteers would tell you that they love to just be in the background. Don't believe it. They want their name in lights. Share the stories. Tell about what they are doing in ministry because you're going to continue to retain them. The more you talk about what they do, is the more they're going to do for you. They'll give you 100%. The steps you take to engage. Connecting with your volunteers while in their presence and over the phone has a huge impact on how they relate to you. When I recruited for children's ministry and also for special events for a mega church of 16,000 members, I always showed them. I would never ask them to do what I did not do. I volunteered standing next to them. I wanted them to see them. I wanted them to see me do what they did. So anytime I called them, you guys, they were ready to serve. There's a saying, and I put this in red. Some churches work their volunteers like their staff, and their staff like volunteers. This is a no no. This is called volunteer burnout. This is called we're going to leave your ministry very quickly and go to another ministry. Please make certain that you work your staff like their staff and your volunteers like their volunteers. Ah, another motivating volunteers. Let's talk about your communication factor. How are you interacting with your volunteers? How are you connecting with them? By phone, by Zoom, by text, in person, emails? Are you staying connected that way? If you are on the right track. Phone calls. Just as I'm talking to you right now, I hope that you would feel or hear my energy. Your phone calls should be filled with energy. They should be able to hear your passion about what you're doing in the ministry and about what you want them to do. What ministry opportunity that you're calling them about. You must call them within 24 to 48 hours after they have joined your ministry. Zoom calls. When I'm on a Zoom call and I'm talking just like I'm talking right now, you guys should be able to see my radiant smile. Although it's gloomy outside, you should be able to see how radiant my smile is and how excited I am about you on this Zoom call. In person, same thing. They should be able to see, they should be able to hear, they should be able to feel your passion. You are not working in ministry as a job, as a job. God has given each and every one of us an opportunity. I do not say job. Job is why I get paid on the other side for something else somebody else wants me to do. However, when I'm in ministry, it is a total opportunity because my gifts are being utilized and I can do that gift without getting paid. Emails. Emails should be read like you are standing in front of them. Anytime I send an email out for Love in Houston, I want that energy going towards that volunteer to be just like I'm talking to you right now. I want to be able to feel like whatever you're asking me to do on that email, oh, I'm getting ready to do it. Miss Tawana's sending me an email. She's so excited. She's got it in caps. She's got exclamation points. She's got everything here. She's got a cute smiling face. Make certain you may think as a person in ministry that this means absolutely nothing. But I will tell you the communication factor, these tools work. Volunteers are inspired by the passion of your cause. They're happy to impact the students inside of your ministry and also inside of your church school partnerships. That's what I'm gearing that particular point towards. Best practices for retaining your volunteers. Oh boy, we'd like for them to stay with us forever and forever. Amen. But if we don't thank them, we're not going to return. I'm not going to return. If I walk into a store right now and they don't say, thank you for coming, welcome, I am not going to return. I will tell you, I want to be praised when I walk through that door because we're your customers. Send out thank you notes or emails after volunteer time is served. Never think that because you know Sister Susan and she volunteered for you and she's a best friend of yours in ministry that you did not have to thank her. Thank her while you're at the event and also send an email talking about how amazing they were at the event and how nothing could have been done without them, without their service. Make certain that you thank your volunteers at all times and value their time. The volunteers, they volunteer because they want to make a difference in the world. They have busy schedules just as we do. So we want to make certain that we make certain that we value their time. You cannot put a price tag. I cannot put a price tag on what a volunteer really means. You're going to see it in the upcoming email, but I will actually break that down to you when we actually get to that point. Stay connected. I'm going to say it again. Stay connected is the way that you retain them. Make certain that you return their phone calls when they call you. You will still need to have a 24 to 48-hour process. Emails within 24 to 48 hours. Make certain that you're actually returning their calls. Make certain that you're doing exactly what you told them that they were going to be doing on the needs listing that you have, your volunteer opportunity listing, I mean. Make certain that whatever you said there is what they're going to be doing. Acknowledge their good deed with shout out social media website. I'll say it again. They always want to see their names in lights. They always want to be praised. Put it on the website, social media. Provide resources and ministry contact information of all staff. I cannot tell you countless of times where they've joined, volunteers have signed up for ministries, and they have to go to 10 to 15 different people in voicemails in order to be able to just serve in your ministry. You know what? We're going to go to another ministry. We're no longer going to be going to your children's ministry. We're not going to go to the men's ministry. We're not going to serve there because you did not provide me with the information that I needed to make certain to make that contact. Make certain that they have the resources for the ministry. When is your children's ministry meeting? When is your training? Who should I contact? This is what they still want to know. Pertaining volunteers, always appreciate them. Host an appreciation event. We know that COVID-19 is here, the pandemic, whatever you want to call that, but to us, we want to make certain that our appreciation event, the volunteers are appreciated in person or virtual. I have a note here because I know that some of you may not be thinking in a little bit forward thinking right now. You may be thinking in the old way. You do not always have to appreciate your volunteer at an appreciation banquet. You can bring that banquet online. You can send something to their home with a shirt, with snacks, and have some type of information, special notes and things that you're going to go over for that particular event or for the appreciation, whatever that is, make it fun. We like to receive some things at our home and then come on a Zoom call and have an appreciation event. So we need for you to be creative. Creative in what you do in ministry is going to retain your volunteers. Send out checking on your emails. If you have not seen me in 2 weeks in the ministry, and you know I always volunteer faithfully, why would you not contact me? Why would you not email me? You should email those volunteers, make phone calls out. You really should have a committee of someone that does telecare in your ministry to call those volunteers to make certain that they're coming into the ministry or they're going to be serving on that particular Sunday or that particular event. Have your church school partnership students send special notes of thanks. Many of you are in partnership right now with schools. We thank you. We're so excited about it. But guess what? As a leader at the church, then I would ask the school to ask students to send special thank yous to those volunteers who are serving that church school partnership. How valuable are volunteers? I'm going to say right now, priceless. Priceless. Most nonprofit organizations cannot complete their mission without volunteers due to limited manpower and tight budgets, and now the pandemic. I say we because we are still volunteering in some capacity. We are priceless. You can never pay us enough for what we do. Volunteers rule the world. Volunteers make the world turn. Volunteers change the dynamics of your ministry. So they're valuable. They're ambassadors who advertise and utilize their marketing skills for the cause. They are donors of time and money. So if they're not just volunteering in your ministry, they have connections at their job and they know somebody that if you have a need in your ministry to get some type of fundraising, then you are the connection. You have everything that you need in your ministry right in front of you. You do not have to go outside the walls all the time. Continuing with how valuable are volunteers. They are position fillers. If you do not have a ministry staff there, they fill your ministries. They save your organization millions of dollars. Like I've indicated before, you can never pay them for what they do. They bring their expertise, 20 to 30 to 40 years of experience to you for free. For free. There was a commercial, I think from Ally Bank or what have you. Was that the one? I know Purvis knows. Free, 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 free. Well, I tell you what, the volunteers, we started the free, 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 free because I worked in ministry for 25 years and I did not know I can get paid to be a volunteer director. Dear God, somebody owes me or my crown will be heavy in heaven. The volunteers are saints of God, servants of God. well, they are saints, servants of God, whose service has provided relief through church school partnerships. You're providing a relief here, just as Brittany indicated. God has angels, but we have volunteers. They're always here. They're always here. You know that anytime we do something in ministry and we have a need for something, do you know God sends you a volunteer? And they are there to provide that service and there to do whatever you want them to do. So treat your volunteers like they're angels because they are definitely messengers from God. This concludes my presentation. I hope you guys got a lot out of it.
Let's give Tawana a round
Thank
of
you.
applause. Awesome job, Tawana. That was so awesome. I see some hearts, some round of applause for you. That was really so many nuggets of wisdom, seriously, and definitely putting the perspective where it should be. I love this quote, God has angels and we have volunteers. It's so beautiful. And you're right, like we can't do this work of church school partnership, even with Love in Houston. We're a nonprofit organization that has to have volunteers, right? Like that's what we do, is help mobilize volunteers to serve our local schools. So awesome job. Thank you so much. We do have some time for questions. If you are having any particular volunteer hiccups or you're trying to do some problem solving, please put those questions in the chat. Marilyn will queue them up for us.
Depends on the special, what type of special need they have, what type of disability do they have. There are creative ways that they can do some things in ministry, but it depends on what that disability actually is.
Yeah, if I can speak to that, we have a family that has a couple of special needs children. And I mean, they're always welcome to do things for our church school partnership, from packing for Blessings in the Backpack. They help us assemble those weekend bags. I mean, to really anything that everyone else is doing. If the disability is severe, then of course ask their parent or their, whoever their caregiver is to be there with them. But I would always include them, just as everyone else, and as Tawana was saying, we all have unique gifting. So, we don't all need to be doing everything. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so yeah, definitely finding a place for everyone. Tanisha, you have a question?
Well, not a question. I just really wanted to piggyback on that because, like you all said, there's various ways that different SPED students can get engaged. I think it goes back to speak with what Tawana was talking about earlier, is what are their gifts and talents? And so ask them, what would they like to do? Ask the caregiver, where do you see? So, here, let me share with you all the different things that we have. And then based on that, where do you see yourself? That way you're not making assumptions or anything like that. The volunteer is invested because now they're being able to say, hey, this is where I think that I would be the most valuable. And then you just go from there. So there's lots of different ways, from being a greeter, like Brittany said, they can, pass out different things. We have some kids or some families that, they have that tunnel vision. I'm really good at this and I want to focus on this and do this the entire time. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. And so you would just leverage that based on having those initial conversations with them. So I think that's the most important thing to do when it comes to all of the unique gifts and talents that many of the volunteers provide.
Tawana, you're so wise in, saying that thanks is such an important part of maintaining and recruiting your volunteer base. Apart from, that follow-up and saying thank you, how would you support a burned out volunteer base? In so many of our churches, I hear that, it's the same 10 to 50 people that are volunteering, depending on the size of the church. And then there's a large portion who have, for various reasons, become disengaged, especially during COVID-19 for health reasons. And so obviously people are carrying such a lion's share of the work, even within their church school partnership. the ones constantly showing up to the events, putting things on, coordinating, et cetera. And those are also probably people serving within their church as well. So like, how could we support those who are feeling burned out?
First off, I would say listen to them, find out from them why they're burned out. You know that they're doing the ministry on a continuous basis. This is really a push now for them to be able to start recruiting volunteers. Maybe they're doing, like you said, they're doing too many things. However, I would look at what else others are doing inside of the ministry. Maybe you may have 1 to 2 people that are doing the same thing and they're wearing too many hats. I'd shift until we get more volunteers in and actually help empower them to be able to recruit others. Because sometimes you have folk that are there that do in the ministry, but they don't go out and try to recruit anybody. They always, they always show up, they always do that, but then they have a friend that maybe ride to church with them. They may know some other people in the ministry or some that are outside the ministry, but they never ask. They never ask, if they would actually come alongside of them. That's where that buddy plan comes in at. That's where the friends come in at, to be able to help you do what you do. That's where you ask other family members that may attend that particular church, to be able to help out. Remember, you guys said a lot of people that are in ministry right now, they're at a crossroads. They're not going to always be with you forever. They're just helping you until they get to wherever they're being called to be able to go and do in that ministry. So you certainly don't want them burnt out, but they should be the ones to help you recruit. They really should be the ones to help out.
Good afternoon. I was just going to piggyback on when Tawana and I started working together. The one thing I mentioned to her when we recruit volunteers, we always thought about burnout. So we thought about burnout. We thought about people changing churches, getting married. We always anticipated that somebody is going to leave. And the other thing that we paid attention to, when we were interviewing people, if you were involved with 2 or 3 more ministries, it was hard to do what I would say to them, that you already involved enough. So we constantly thought about, no matter how talented they were, we know you cannot serve, you can't serve 2 masters. So we were very conscious that we didn't overburden people. And also since we were doing Sunday school, we had a goal that I gave her. We wanted to make sure nobody teach more than 2 Sundays a month. So we had that committed. So that meant she was recruiting 24/7, and that was her basic job to do, and to deal with that thing called burnout and to make sure people. And then if a person if someone came to you, you say to them, take a break. Even if they didn't ask you, if you saw it, you tell them, go take a couple weeks off. And so we just anticipated and listened to everything that was being said to us. And then we act on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Willie. We see where Tawana gets all her wisdom from. Thank you. That was really good. Yeah, just telling people now, you're doing so much, and that's awesome. And just affirming what they're doing and kind of putting some boundaries around those of us who can be busy bees and need to just say that that's enough.
I would actually approach them with the opportunities that we have in ministry. They're in leadership where they are. However, they'd love to be leaders somewhere else. Trust me, they really do. Present the information, the needs that you have there in your ministry, and move them over to where you are. Let them know that you need a team of people to do this. That business where they are, and maybe outside of the church, they can actually help. Bring that particular business into your ministry and give them that volunteer opportunity. That way you already have a leader there. They already know who their volunteers, who their workers are outside of that business, but you're going to bring them into the ministry, give them that opportunity. You're just providing them with an opportunity to do something. Let them do that. Empower them.
This was so awesome, such a rich conversation. Thank you all for participating in it and all for sharing your wisdom and insights. And you can reach Tawana at lovinghouston.net. If you just think on this a little bit more, you have a question for her, I'm sure she's going to be willing to answer any follow-up questions you have.